Yes, the distribution grid is changing and changing rapidly. What's driving that change?
So in the distribution grids, you see a huge uptake in renewable energy. And that means rooftop solar panels. It means also wind generation on small grid areas, so the lower elements of the grid. And that means that the traditional single way of energy flow from the high voltage grids to your home is changing direction. And that means that, like in changing a single way street into a bi-directional way street, you need to put up your traffic lights and your signs. And that means that in the distribution grid, you need to very quickly change all the settings of the safety and the protection measures that you have in place. And usually that's not feasible with the traditional equipment, which is very static. So more and more grid operators are looking for a software-defined environment where they leverage the 61850 protocol to quickly reconfigure all their settings. Yeah. So and also the uptake of electrical vehicles with their smart charging stations is another element that they need to address and steer and control. And that whole concept, I think, can be done by a term that I called programmable energy. Yeah, so that there is more intelligence in energy flows and energy control than the traditional way of all you can eat based on the capacity of your grid connection.
Now, traditionally, when we talk about adding more flexibility to the grid, we talk about we have to change the SCADA systems, and they've traditionally been you don't touch the SCADA system. So how do you see that playing out with programmable energy and all the changes coming down the line?
Yeah, so when you reflect a little bit on SCADA systems, so those were invented in the 80s of last century, and they were just controlling and measuring only the critical elements in the grid. Because it was too expensive to instrument each element of the grid. And we see now with the uptake of all those smart equipment and new RTUs and new generation elements that there is more data available. And the SCADA systems gives an overload of all those individual data points to the operator. And the advanced distribution management systems, and I hope new SCADA systems, will give a better, smoother interface to the operator, and also the new operators replacing the old teams that are going on retirement, in order to accommodate and steer the ever more complexing energy flows that we see now needed to be handled by the distribution grids. And not only the static environment, but also reconfiguring those grids. And traditionally, those grids are operated in a tree shape, although the topology is circular usually. So reconfiguring those on a more dynamic way is probably a way forward.
Now, there's no doubt that the pace of digitalization is not slowing down. It's accelerating, if anything. But with digitalization, I suppose the elephant in the room is cybersecurity. Where do you see cybersecurity headed in the next couple of years?
Yeah, so as we are relying more and more on data, not only collected by the grid operator themselves, but also data from the clients and the customers and other parties they connect with, having a reliable data source is ever more important to have a secure energy supply. So that means that the security and the technology that we use to implement those IT security and OT security mechanisms needs to be modernized according to keep up with all the changes in the threat landscape. So, in one of the aspects that is very interesting to understand and need to take action is the quantum safe aspect. So, quantum safe is addressing new encryption algorithms that are resistant to new quantum decryption algorithms. It's a good approach to understand where are all those threats, what's the threat surface, and what you need to do, what program you need to instantiate in order to stay ahead of the threats that are coming up. Yeah, so it's already adopted and recommended by NIST. And those alternatives are readily available, and it's a matter of creating a program and start working on it.